Hey, we're here. Goodness, what's going on here with the frame? We're here. Like a head on a stick. Sit back a bit, Matthew. Sit lower. It's Chat with Matt. I'm still trying to get my frame right. It's all about the frame and the lighting. And the level. These things are important. How are you guys? It's Chat with Matt. It is the 18th of March. It's 2020. I was supposed to say 2007. Where was that going to come from? It's 2020. Here we are. Chat with Matt. Half an hour to talk about whatever. Hopefully I've got the right group. I just found out that I published reasonably late last night, the call-in details for my Bright Light Client Attraction process, my medium value course, investment level course, on my public page last night, on my personal page. Oh my God. So I'll have to do something about that and change some details. Anyway, it can wait. Fixing that can wait, because I've got half an hour with you guys, and there's some questions written in ahead of time. How are you guys going? Are you locked down? We're not particularly locked down here in New Zealand, but we're kind of invited. We're invited to stay home. Kind of encouraged is the word I'm looking for. We're encouraged to stay home. I stay home all the time anyway, unless I'm out walking or something, which I'm not about to stop doing. So yeah, Louise said that Qigong is cancelled in her part of the world. So all being well, I look forward to hanging out with you later. So Sylvie and Gary have both written in questions ahead of time. Hey Louise, you are with us. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to start with what Sylvie wrote in, and then we'll jump on to what Gary wrote in, and then I'll open it up to whatever is coming from the floor. So if you have questions, comments, if you question anything that I say, then please feel free to interact. Just getting some fluid in as we begin. Okay, so Sylvie said, I would like to talk about focus. When our creativity is scattered and attracted in multiple directions, and we choose what we feel to do, the path of least resistance, right, which is what we tend to choose most of the time. We choose what we emotionally, mentally feel comfortable doing, right? We tend to, as humans, and this is not a wrongness, but it's just an observation, we tend to gravitate towards comfort. The path of least resistance. But there might be a project that would be more aligned and more purposeful that we tend to avoid by dabbling into something else. So this is really common, very, very common, and it does plague us as heart-centered beings, facilitators, people who are here to live on purpose, and people who have a rich history in deep past particularly, but also potentially in this lifetime, of having hard experiences. So we carry quite a degree of impacted trauma and pain in our fields, which presents out through our bodies, emotions, and mentality, which creates a lot of resistance to doing things expansively, right? For doing things that are going to draw attention to us, which doing things with potential risk involved, right? That we might be disappointed, that we might be rejected, that we might be persecuted yet again, right? So the world order thingy, be a little bit more specific, Louise, so I don't go off on track. Tell me what your idea of the world order thingy might be, because it's an interesting kettle of fish, that one. So just going back to Sylvie, it's really easy to get scattered and off direction with what we really know in our heart would best serve us to do, even though that is uncomfortable to be doing, even though there is resistance to doing it, even though it's not easy to do that, there is a lot of joy in doing it, even though it's not comfortable, if you know what I mean. Hey, Brother Gary. So focus is a word that a lot of us have resistance to, and a lot of us have a connotation that focus is something that requires a lot of effort. And it doesn't have to, right? In my opinion, in my vernacular, I kind of use the word focus to mean a consistent... Yeah, well, I'll go there in a second, Louise. I'll scroll back up to that in a minute. Don't let me lose track, but I'll stay here. So, the... So the tendency is, So what is required from us to really be purposeful on the planet, to really shine our light, to really get things done on this planet, what it requires for us to do is to maintain our attention on things that we're intending to achieve. So intention and attention is really, really important, and how those two work together. It's very easy to set intentions and then not hold your attention on it, and thus not really succeed in achieving much. And if you don't have an intention, then your attention is very easily scattered and can go wherever it wants. And generally it gets led by our subconscious or our emotional self into things that feel comfortable to do, things that give us an egoic lift. We feel good about ourselves, or it gives us some sort of satisfaction or comfort emotionally. So it's really important. And what for me, how I achieve that is to spend time in meditation, right? To put time aside to contemplate what is for my highest and best good to be doing, right? So that I'm not just led by what's demanding, what's the brightest pull on my energy in any particular moment, or what I'm emotionally drawn to. At the moment, I'm up to here in resistance for doing a new funnel thing, a new marketing thing, which I believe is really, really important for me, because I'm delivering a product that's going to be really beneficial to a great number of people, and I want to be able to get it out effectively to a lot of people. So I'm having to wade through all of my resistance to that. Of course I'm resistant to that. My egoic self does not want to be seen by a lot of people. It really doesn't, because I've got in trouble before for putting my points of view out there. And so why would I want to do that again, right? My soul wants to do it again. My soul is here to serve others. And so I'm being driven to take these steps, and I have to be very disciplined with myself to maintain my attention on where my true intention lies, which is to get this thing finished, to get it out there so that I can really start helping people. And people need it more than ever right now, because everyone's in friggin' fear. And although I think it's starting to soften just over the last day or two, last 36 hours or so, I think people are starting to find a level of acceptance for this idea of locking down and shutting down and going within. Hopefully people are switching off their news streams a little bit more and just saying, well, if we've got to stay inside, what's the point? What's the point of worrying about it anymore, right? What's the point of staying in touch with how many people are dying and where and what and all the rest of it? Because it doesn't help. It doesn't help to get stressed. So focus for me is not a stressful thing. It's not a thing that requires a lot of effort. It's a thing that requires a dedication to maintain your attention in a direction that feels most appropriate from you, from a deeper, innate, intuitive level, as opposed to just doing what you feel, which is going to lead you down it's like being a two-headed man. I'm not quite sure I get that, Gary, but I have enough trouble with one head. Imagine having two of them. I'd rather have two hearts than two heads, that's for sure. But that's it, my friends. So just don't allow... Oh yeah, conspiracy theories. Not to mention the conspiracy theories. Yeah. And there's conspiracy theories in both directions. That's what's really interesting. So I think I'll finish with Sylvie. So I'll go on to the conspiracy theories, then I'll come back to your question, Gary, about what my lifestyle, my daily life routine looks like. So basically there's people pointing out, and this could be very, very true, that this virus has been created by the elite, whoever's in charge of the world, right, to create a distraction from potentially 5G effects so that they can continue rolling out 5G and then have basically a whole weaponry system in place that they can use to make us sick at any particular moment that they want to, because 5G radiation, in my opinion, is very, very dangerous. It's, basically open the microwave door and put yourself in there. The vibration is very, very short wavelength, which basically penetrates a long way into our being and influences us on a deeper than cellular level. These waves are basically shaking our molecules apart, just like a microwave shakes water apart, or excites water to the point that it breaks cells apart. These 5G radiations will do the same to any living organism, plant-based or animal-based, right? So that's a fucking real concern, in my opinion, this 5G thing. And basically we see that this virus is creating symptomology which is very, very similar to radiation poisoning, right? But the flu virus does the same. Viruses are basically detoxification events. I was talking before, I don't think it was in this group, I think it was in my other group, that, a virus is not a bacterium, it's not a living thing. A virus is basically a pollutant. It's a bit of pollution, basically. That'll do. Toxin. It's a toxin. A virus is a toxin. It's not a living thing. It's basically spewed out of a living cell when a living cell basically detoxifies itself. So what we see happening is we get irradiated, the cells get sick, they then start to expel stuff, and in the process they die, those cells, they burst and they throw out crap, which is basically the virus. The virus then gets expelled from the body. It goes into someone else's body who hasn't started that same reaction, but basically by bringing the toxin in, it inspires the same thing to happen. So it triggers it. So it becomes a trigger. This bit of viral matter, this bit of toxin basically triggers a detoxification in the next person if they are already if they're already sick, basically, if they're already carrying a load in their cells that the cells want to get rid of, their body wants to get rid of. So completely different to a parasite, Gary. A parasite is a much more complex living being, The viruses are tiny. They're just a fraction of a cell, a single cell, whereas a bacterium is a single cell. And of course, cells can be of different sizes, of course, and parasites are multi-celled beings, which they're basically bugs, they're living things. So this viral matter, and it's the same with the common cold, it's the same with all viruses, it basically only affects people who are in the conditions where it will affect them. So if you're not carrying a load of crap in your body, then you can breathe in a virus and it won't really affect you because your body is not going to get triggered into doing the same thing. So that's important to know, right? So healthy people don't get sick by viruses. We've all, quote unquote, caught the cold before, a viral cold, but that's because our bodies, generally in our Western world, are carrying around a load of toxins, right? Which then you go, oh, well, what about this? What about this beer virus, right? Yeah, we're all susceptible to it because we're all being irradiated. I've got a computer screen in front of me, I've got a phone here, I've got a Wi-Fi thing over there, not to mention what's coming from outside of my house, right? My smart meter on the side of the house is also pumping out radiation. We're all being irradiated. And, there's a thing going around that aligns with what I believe on Facebook as well, talking about, all of the rest of it. Anywho, yeah, and it's great to detoxify your liver, Gary, but this load that we're carrying, we can't really escape. It's been happening since the late 1900s when we, first started pumping radio waves out into the world. It had a big step up in the 40s when we started covering the world in radar waves, right, for the Second World War. And then along comes television. And, yada, yada, yada. We've, continually upping the level of radiation that we're all experiencing. We've got satellites buzzing around us now, basically irradiating the Earth with various waves. So we're all copying this. We can do our best to avoid it. We can do things to help us through it, right? Wearing shungite, not an ad. I don't have stocks in shungite. Maybe I should, is a good one. There's lots of other ways that we can help ourselves to stay detoxified, drinking lots of water, drinking lots of clean water. And I'm going to get into this because Gary asked me what's my lifestyle, so I will tell you a little bit. But anyway, and it would be true that a virus only exists for a very short time, yet they are spread very quickly, leaving us to believe... Sorry, I'm going to read it from here, Louise, because I can't read it from here because I don't have it here. Let me click on this thing and then get to where I'm talking, which is there. Whoop, I don't want to really watch myself. For a very short time, yet they spread very quickly, leaving us to believe that the virus is strong. Yeah, no, the virus isn't strong. It's just that people are expunging it out of their bodies, and then it creates a chain reaction where it goes into another body and it triggers the same response from them. It also spreads very quickly through our body because that little one trigger comes in, it triggers one cell to explode and pump out all this shit, and then cells around it start doing the same, right? And so all of these sick cells, especially when they're in your freaking lungs, right, in the case of this beer virus, start melting down, right, until our immune system can come in and basically calm that down. It creates a lot of inflammation, which is basically pneumonia. You know, the common cold virus gets into our sinus cavities and does the same thing there, right, into our mucus lining in our nasal passages, and cells start throwing out more virus, and we create a lot of mucus to try and flush all this shit out of ourselves. Anywho, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, and I'm only going through, basic understanding of how these things work, which may be proved to be a incomplete model of how this shit works, right? So I'm not pretending to tell you the truth. I'm just talking about what I believe and what I know. So that caveat is there. Please don't take my words as ultimate truth because I'm not sure that they are. I'm not sure that they are. Anywho, so so we're all under load, and I think humanity has to have a good look at this and start to choose health above capitalism and money and the convenience of being able to be so controlled, talking about conspiracies, controlled by the media and, instantaneous access to so much information that we don't really need. We don't really need to be so linked up and hooked up. It's great to have connectivity, and I think that's really important. But it's been overkilled at the moment, and I certainly don't see the need for our phones to run 100 times faster than they already run. I don't see that. And I don't really see the need for driverless cars, to be honest. And I don't see the need for a lot of things that they promise that 5G is going to give us to better our world, which is basically fucking surveillance, right? Yeah, they can surveil us much, much better in real time. As we were seeing in Wuhan, right? That's basically Wuhan was a test city for intense 5G surveillance, and people living in Wuhan were under 24-hour intense 5G radiation, and they all got fucking sick, right? Anywho, moving on from that, there's another side to the whole conspiracy theory that basically says that this shutdown's happening at the moment so that the warriors of light can basically go in and remove the darkness from the world right now, and that's happening, that all of the Illuminati are basically being arrested and detained at this very, very moment, pretty much, and that they had to shut the whole world down using this virus to do this. That is also circulating on Facebook, and that would be lovely to see it happen, but I'm not sure that it's the truth. A lot of people believing that basically the fiat currency, our dollars and the reserve banks will all get basically leveled out right now. We're going to have a new currency introduced very, very shortly, and that's going to usher in a brighter world of utopia and fairness. I would love to see that happen, but I don't think that that's the case. I'd love to be proved wrong, but I don't feel it. But there's a lot of people who believe that is happening right now. So we'll see. In general, I'm reasonably optimistic that this shut-in is going to serve a lot of people. I don't know if it's been instigated for pure reasons. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel a lot of distortion in the field right now, and there's a lot of stress in the field right now, and it's very hard to get a clear read, and I don't pertain myself to be a reader in any real way. I'm a I'm a catalyst of helping people to make the most out of whatever situation they're currently having. My big foundation is on empowering people to act in the moment, not to spread information generally so much. So after spreading all of that information that I just did about these two sides of this whole experience and which way it really is, or is it really just a natural virus that's got out of hand and it's just running through our population and we're just doing the best to maintain it all, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what's instigated. What matters right now is that you do the best to act from your heart in how you know to act in order to That's great, Lou. Brother Lou. Someone just shared a video of Putin asking the US and the EU to stop this madness or else he'll bring in his military forces and... cancel. I'll have to have a look at it here. Bring in his military forces, not forgetting that God is watching too. He's prepared to go and do something because he knows what's going on. The chaos of Pisces gives way to Aquarius. Yeah, and so we are seeing a great transformation right now in the world, and there are lots and lots of stories, and I don't believe any one story is very true. It's all illusion, right? As the world always has been. It's an illusory world we live in. We have to remember that we're much more than our bodies. We have to remember that we're much more than this experience here on Earth. So what is going to help you all the most is to dissociate from all of the stories. It's not that you should bury your head in the sand and not know any of it, but listen and read any of it with healthy skepticism and maintain your heart-based knowing about what you should do right now. What you should do right now in this moment, right? In this moment. What should you be doing right now? What is best going to serve you and those around you? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, and it's all you really can do, right? It's all you really can do. You can take this information in and use it to flavor what you're choosing to do by all means. But don't allow yourself to get stuck in the idea that anything that you're receiving from the external world is absolute truth, because none of it is. None of it is, right? So you can get lost in one conspiracy theory or the other, or you can start getting really stressed because you don't know which conspiracy theory is the real one, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Trust that nothing is what it seems, and the truth is that the world has always been that way. Nothing has ever been what it seems on this planet. Nothing has ever been what it seems on this planet, because it is all illusion and it's all coming through our particular filters. And we're all having a collective experience of our filters based on how we've been programmed through the last few millennia, thousands of years of darkness programming us. Not that the light forces don't program us as well into a different sort of illusion. It's all illusion, but it functions for us, right? Love one another as I have loved you. Exactly, Gary. It comes down to the basics. It comes down to the basics. And if we're all wiped off the planet tomorrow, so be it. It's not the end of the world, so to speak. It's not the end of our existence anyway. It's not the end of our existence. Hey, Kelly. So don't get so stressed about it all. I know you look at your children, you look at your grandchildren, you want them to have the best, but we don't get to choose that. We don't get to choose that. All we get to choose is what we give them right now, right? And it's the experience that we've all come to Earth to have, is this relationship with others, this illusionary delusion of separation. And so we're having that experience, and it's great. So have it in a real meaningful way for those around you right now, then rather than projecting yourself into the future and what could freaking happen right now, or go back into the past and try and work out what's happened in the past, or get too caught up in all of the conspiracy and all of the stuff that's happening. I believe there's a lot of, keep it simple, stupid, or sisters, or siblings. Keep it simple, siblings. I don't like to call people stupid because we're not stupid, but we have a tendency to act reasonably cleverly. We'll reincarnate to take revenge. I don't know about that. Nothing like revenge to ruin a good life, Lewis. I think I'm going to reincarnate to enjoy. So that's the most important thing, my friends. None of us can tell truth from fiction right now. None of us can. So allow yourself to enjoy whatever's going on. If we're shut down right now, make the most of being shut down. Many of us are hurting financially through this, because because people can't earn any money when it shuts down. And others are more fortunate, right? We're seeing the best and the worst of humanity right now. A lot of people hoarding shit to look after themselves, right? And we're also seeing people start to wake up and go, hey, let's come together as a community while still maintaining social distance. It's a good opportunity to learn to be very empathic and very compassionate, and not to get caught up in fear, and not to start reacting from stress. I think this time period, and if it does go on for a reasonable length of time, is going to give a lot of people a big wake up as to what's important in their life, and I think that will only help our societies. So it's our job to be the best version of ourselves during this time, and to not necessarily to isolate ourselves and just go into our own hole, although that might be appropriate for a length of time, but also to look after others who are around us, so that they can have the best experience through this and not just be contracted in fear throughout it, wondering what's going to happen to them, what's going to happen to people they love. So yeah, that's exactly it, Kelly. It's time to find our inner selves, to stay calm, and to realize that there is much more to the whole experience than the rightness or the wrongness of what's going down in this amazing play right now. The truth is, as we stay centered in ourselves and keep just radiating our light out, keep radiating love around us, we're going to influence the best outcome, rather than getting into our mind and thinking we need to fight a whole heap of things. If it comes down to it and it comes to a fight, then we have to fight, right? But we don't go looking for the fight right now. We're here to project love, and we're here to advocate for the outcomes that we want, right? That we choose. We're advocating for a free world. We're advocating for a healthy world. We're advocating for a prosperous and abundant world, right? Where things are reasonably fair, right? Not getting too caught up in the fairness fairy tale that a lot of us, from an egoic place get to. But, peeling away a lot of the crap that's going on in the world right now, and has been for a long time, right? This dark influence that's been maintaining a authoritarian force over us, keeping us, chained to a wheel, is having to fall apart. It is falling apart right now. Yeah, Kelly, you've worked very hard without my guidance, and my guidance is just a small part of what's helping you do what your soul's come here to do. So I'm honoured to take part in playing my small role in influencing, but don't lose sight of the magnificence of you and your soul's desire to be here and to be that light that helps to transmute the fear into love. So anyway, I will just quickly answer Brother Gary's question, which basically, asked, tell us about your lifestyle, your daily routine, diet, what you choose to read. I don't read a lot, actually. What has been the most empowering literature that you have read? What detox routines do you follow, exercise, etc.? Okay, so what's most important for me? So I'll start with this. I don't read a lot. I did read yoga manuscripts, old ones, the Upanishads and the Vedas, and particularly Vedanta theory, non-duality theory back in the day, which was like... Back in the day, it was like in the mid-90s when I first came to yoga. I did a lot of reading, a lot of study around that. Since then, I haven't had much time. Since children came into my life, I haven't had a lot of time for reading, and I haven't actually felt the need to be honest. As I've spent a lot of time in meditation, and for a lot of my last 25 years, it's been about 2 hours a day, an hour in the morning, an hour at night. It's not that anymore. It's more like half an hour at night and hopefully an hour in the morning. It doesn't always happen, depending on how much sleep I need. I do sleep a lot more than I would potentially like to because I'm busy. I'd like to use that time in other ways, but I do a lot of work while I'm asleep as a channel and as a someone who's holding a lot of space. My body tends to want to sleep for 8, 9, even 10 hours and that changes. And if I don't allow it to sleep long enough, then I don't function so well. So that's not so easy, but how it is. My diet has been vegetarian for 25 years. I intermittently fast. So basically I only eat, and this has been progressively extending. So I pretty much have 18 hours off a day from eating. Although I have a few drinks and supplement them with various things, but low calorie, like no calorie in it. It's more mineral and stuff like that to keep healthy. So I basically I start eating at about 1 o'clock and finish at around about 7 o'clock is my window for eating. What else? Exercise. Try and exercise every day. I rebound a couple of times every day, maybe. My intention to, just get up and bounce. I try and get out of this seat. I try and get away from the screen at least every 2 hours and spend time shaking or jumping or, rebounding or doing some stretches on the floor. Moving is really important for our bodies. We have to keep the lymph moving to stay healthy and keep the blood flowing. I teach yoga a couple of times a week. Meditation, yoga. Diet is vegetarian, reasonably low carbohydrate, especially low processed carbohydrate. I steer well away from traditional wheat products. Not that I'm gluten intolerant. I just, feel that wheat has been basically fucked with so badly that it's not worth eating anymore. Although I don't go reading through the packaging to make sure that there's no wheat in something. But then again, I don't eat a lot of things out of packets. I ate a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. I ate a lot of my morning meal is morning meal, which happens about between 12 and 1, is basically soaked seeds and nuts with some fruit and a little bit of coconut yogurt and some flaxseed oil, and then a salad basically, and potentially a small meal. Vegetable protein. So I do eat eggs. I do eat eggs because we have chickens, and so I can get very, very good quality free-range eggs from chickens that are loved and have an awesome life. So they're very high vibrational. So I have eggs a couple of times a week. And I have some dairy product. We can get milk up the road, Gary, Tahoro A2 raw milk straight out of the machine, which is right at the gate of the farm. So I have a little bit of that. I have a little bit of paneer made with that milk. Or from the Hare Krishnas, who also make good paneer. But I'd prefer to eat butter rather than any processed things. So my oils that I eat are coconut oil, butter, olive oil, flax oil, hemp oil, but I can't really afford it. I'd love to eat more hemp oil, but it's so friggin' expensive. But yes, watch out for your oils. Keep them, don't overheat them. What else? So detox protocols, I don't do a lot of anymore. I used to, because I used to need to, but, basically being intermittent fasting helps to keep your body very, very clean because you basically have time to clean out every day. I do longer fasts, and we'll have a couple of days off every now and again, and even do a longer one like 5 or 6, 7 days, maybe once a year, just to clean out. But I did a lot of cleansing, back in the day, 20 years ago. My first 5 years of becoming vegetarian, I did a lot of cleansing. Homemade nut milks are great. I just prefer to eat all of those seeds soaked. Right, I eat pumpkin. I don't eat a lot of oats. I have some, but almonds and sunflower seeds I have every day soaked. So I don't really need to make a milk out of it because I don't really miss milk itself. What I do know I need is more fat and more protein in my diet. Well, not more, but some. And so I like to mix it up with that. And my body tests very, very strong for cow's milk, raw cow's milk, not pasteurized cow's milk, but raw cow's milk. That's my body makeup. Not everyone's body's like that. We have to understand that not one diet fits everyone anywhere near that. We're all different. We all have different genetics. And obviously my genetics has been having cow's milk probably for the last 10 to 15,000 years, really. And so it quite enjoys it, right? But it doesn't enjoy once it's been pasteurized and killed and had all the enzymes taken out of it because it doesn't digest. So that's it. It's really important that we get out of mindsets. A lot of people are wanting to say, it's like that argument that I find hilarious, that people say, well, no other animal drinks the milk of another mammal, which is wrong, by the way, because if a carnivore takes down a lactating herbivore, the first thing it'll probably take out are the mammary glands. It will take that milk. Or if it takes a calf or a baby animal, it will open up the stomach and drink the milk. It will, because it's a high source of protein and it's a high source of calorie, and it's so yes, but no other animal has really worked out how to milk another animal and to do that. That's true, but no other animal cooks food either. And so you don't see the same argument being used to the fact that we should all be raw, because people like to cook. So, right, there's a lot of things that only humans do. But, I know for a long time there's this thing floating around on, that this doctor says how crazy it is that we drink milk because we're the only animal to do so. And it's like, well, we're the only animal to do a lot of other things. We've been drinking milk successfully for 15,000 years or so. It's a huge part of the traditional Hindustan diet, which has been vegetarian and living in that, in the Hindustan region of the world for a long time, very, very healthily. Pasteurization over the last sort of 40 years, 50 years has been what's killed milk and made dairy such a toxic thing to consume. And of course, certain parts of the population, Pacific Islanders, various Asian parts of the world where they haven't had domesticated cattle and haven't been drinking milk, don't tolerate it. So it's fine, right? Just as some people don't tolerate freaking quinoa. Some people don't tolerate coconut product. Some people don't tolerate lots of things because their genetics don't lead them to be able to think it. I've probably been going on for too long. But anyway, so the point is, my friends, there's no right diet, and you're not supposed to emulate my diet. My diet is continually evolving as I evolve myself. And it's not that I'm perfecting my diet, because I notice I go in spirals. I come back to things that I've gone off. And I just choose to understand that as I intuitively know what to eat and as I intuitively experiment with my diet, that things are unfolding in a way that serves me. So don't get too hung up on your diet, but please listen to your body. You know what's good to eat. You know what's not. Don't allow yourself to fool yourself into thinking that what your emotions want to eat is what your body wants to eat, because your emotional self and your physical self are two completely different things, right? And we do a lot of eating from an emotional standpoint. And it's not wrong to give our emotional self some comfort via food in a moderate way. I do it. When I'm feeling emotionally uneasy, I use food to help bring some ease back to that so that I can then make better choices. So we have to employ discipline moderated with compassion and with awareness, right? So that we can stay on the straight and narrow and enjoy our lives. Ultimately, the best thing you can do for your health is to stay calm and peaceful and relaxed, right? When I say relaxed, it's not necessarily lying in a hammock doing nothing. That's called resting. Relaxed is basically free of the stress response, right? So that your energetics is loose, and things can change, and you can notice your intuitive guidance as it arises, and you can allow your emotional and your mental discordance to flow through much more easily without contracting around it. So relaxation is the most important thing you can do. If you're stressed about getting your diet right, you're doing yourself more harm than good. If you're stressed about exercising, you're doing yourself more harm than good. Choose to do whatever you're going to do for your health from a relaxed, knowing space, not from a fear space. Act from love. Everything will work out for you. Stay relaxed. Trust whatever's going on is going to serve you if you choose to let it. If you choose to take an empowered attitude to whatever situation is presenting, even if it's total distortion, what you're experiencing. It's been manipulated by people who have dark agendas. Great. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. They only have power over us. They can only distort our experience if we choose to let them, if we choose to take affront to the fact that they're creating mayhem in the world. If we choose to stay calm and choose to keep advocating for what we want, it's not about being used as a doormat. It's not about letting them walk all over us. It's not about letting them, mass vaccinate. It's not about letting them manipulate our diet. It's not about letting them radiate us all the time. But we choose to advocate for what we know is best going to serve us from a space of calm, relaxed, authentic confidence, right? Not buying into fight against it all, because that's just creating stress in ourselves and opening ourselves up to being more and more manipulated by fear. The way to break out of this cycle and to not be able to be manipulated is to stay relaxed and connected to the light that you are. That's our job, my friends, and to spread that, which is not necessarily stand on a soapbox and preach it, but is to just be it in amongst other people, to be that calm, reasonable person who is just exuding love in testing situations. That's our job. Whether we're doing that online or whether we're doing that remotely or we're doing that in person, we do that, right? We just hold the space and find allowance for others, right? Don't make others wrong who are stuck in fear right now. Be compassionate for them. Don't make people wrong who are hoarding and carrying on and doing lots of lower vibrationary things right now because they're doing it from fear and manipulation. Hold space for them. Hold space for them, because judging them as wrong and ridiculing them is not going to help them change, right? So there's a lot of craziness going on out there. There's a lot of people very contracted in fear doing some pretty shitty things, right? Hoarding up stuff and trying, putting themselves first and foremost, which, we all have to put ourselves first, but not in that way, right? We also have to look after our energy first, not necessarily hoard all the shit paper so that no one else has any. But we understand why they're doing it, because they're fearful and they're very, very contracted in their need to not die, right? A lot of people are very scared of death. Anyone who's scared of death is easy to manipulate, right? Once you become free of that fear, you can work in this world in a much, much more empowered way, right? When you no longer fear death. That doesn't mean that you take crazy risks and just, throw your life away willy-nilly, but it does mean that you can really live your life from a space of love when you don't fear any of the consequences, right? That's it. So trust what you know in your heart, my friends. Keep acting in empowered ways. Breathe deep. So that's another thing that I do a lot of, Gary, in my daily life is I take time out to breathe. I have, timer on my computer, beeps every half an hour and reminds me to stop and take 2 deep breaths. Each exhalation is just releasing the stress that I'm feeling. Each inhalation is helping me to align my focus, my attention to my big intention, whatever that might be. There is a need to dress the bigger ladies. There definitely is, Brother Lewis, and that's an awesome mahi, as we'd say in Māori. That's an awesome mission to help people of all sizes feel good in themselves, right? To have the opportunity that everyone else has. So that's it. Give them good clothing that makes them feel great, right? Rather than leaving them in sacks. Anyway, my friends, that's more than enough. I've gone well over time, 45 minutes into chat with Matt, my goodness. But such is life. Much love. If I've missed your question, then I apologize. I know I wasn't paying huge amounts of what's that thing when you watch things? But anyway, much love to you all. Thanks, Denise. Many blessings to you. Back to Denmark. And I'll speak to you all again next week. Same time, same place. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to use this group, the Bright Light Facilitator group, to ask any questions, right? Just pop a post on. Reach out. If it's personal, then send me an email or a messenger. I'm here to serve you all. If you want some real help, I've got 50% discount on sessions right now, so you can grab a session with me. The link is probably just below this one in a post I put on yesterday. If you can't find it, reach out and I'll send it to you. Right, there's a discount coupon for 50% off. Here to help people who are really struggling with what they're experiencing. And understand we're all experiencing a lot of purging right now, so there's a lot of fear coming out of all of us. As we choose to maintain a calm space and stay on purpose right now, we might be feeling a lot of what we don't want to feel, but what we're not choosing. You choose in an empowered way, and then you feel a lot of what you're not choosing. If you need some help to shift through that, I'm here to do it, right? Here to do it. I'm open for business. Just reach out in any way, shape or form. I'm here to serve you. Much love. Bye for now. Keep breathing deep and love yourself and love everyone else around you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.